Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm here bringing you another global monthly video hop. So myself and demonstrators from around the world do videos once a month, the first week of each month, based on a theme to share with people all over the world. And this month's theme is 3D. So in the description below, I will actually have links to the videos of the other demonstrators that are participating this month. So once you finish watching my video and giving it a thumbs up, I hope, you can then click on the links to see some other videos showing you wonderful 3D projects for this month. So I will also list the products that I use in this video. So if you wish to purchase any of them, simply look at the list and you can look at the product codes and contact your demonstrator to order. Or if you're in New Zealand and don't already have a demonstrator, you're welcome to contact me at michellekritchley.stampinup.net. And you can place your order through my website or contact me if you have any questions or for more information. So with the theme of 3D, I'm going to show you how to make this cute box, which is perfect for holding your accessories. So you can put your Tombow in there, your Snips, your bone folder, pens, pencils, anything else. The tweezers fit in there. Lots of different things that you can fit in this little box. And this box, what I'm using to make the box is the Notes and Totes bundle. So I'm using a few of the dies in a different way from the Notes and Totes Dies. And then for this box I'm going to show you today, I'm actually going to stamp on the sides. This original sample one, I did squares of designer series paper on the side. So that was my sample one. This one we're actually going to stamp. So we will be using the floral stamp from the Notes and Totes. So let's get started. Because it is a 3D project, it's best to use a thicker type of cardstock. So for this, I'm using the basic white thick cardstock, and you need to have a piece big enough. And I used, I think, nearly an entire A4 sheet. In fact, I can show you what was left over. So left over from an A4 piece, I had those two bits and this longer piece here. Oh, so that, and this longer piece is all that was left, and a couple little tiny bits. So I use the entire, nearly the entire A4 piece to make this. Have little bits of scrap left over that I can use for another project. So what you need to do is using the dies. So I thought I would think outside the box and do something different. Instead of just cutting it to shape and making a box, I decided to use the dies because I could get that interesting triangular look on the inside of the box. So this is actually the tote die. So it makes the cute tote bags. And if you want to see some of those, I have other videos that I've already done showing how to use this die. So for this, you need to cut 4 of those. So those are going to be your 4 sides. So I've already pre-cut 4 of those pieces. And then the other dies you're going to use is this one here, which makes kind of a newspaper piece that you can stamp on that section. And again, if you watch my other videos, you'll understand what this die is actually supposed to be used for. But I used it to cut 2 rectangular pieces. And then with what was left of the basic white cardstock, I then cut 2 5.5 by 5.5 centimeter squares. So that's going to be to cover the base of the box to make it a bit more sturdy. And so this time around, I'm stamping with this floral stamp there. And I'm going to stamp just with Poppy Parade. So you can use whatever color you want. I haven't tried this before, so we're going to see how it comes out. So the first thing you will want to do, and you'll also need a bone folder. Good thing I have one handy. And your snips. So with the base, there's lots of score lines because if you fold it up, you can create a tote bag, and you can create a 3D tote bag. So this just shows you if you put two of those pieces together, you can end up with a 3D tote bag. And I have other videos showing how to do that. And if you want to put it on the front of the card, you just use one piece. And then there's other dies that cut all these other little pieces. And I've got a video that shows how to make that card. So if you're interested in that, check out my previous videos. But we're going to use it slightly different. And because of that, we don't need all the pieces on it. So what you can do first is you can fold down the bottom. I'm trying to make sure I remember how I did this. And we fold the bottom of all of them down. And I can burnish that, but I'm going to burnish it in a minute. And this piece here, kind of a weird shaped piece, we don't really need for the box. Okay, it just gets in the way. So there is a score line on it. See, so you can fold that score line and just snip it right along the score line. Snip that bit off. So you don't need that. Okay, so you want all four to look like that at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and snip all four pieces off there. That piece there just helps to stabilize when you're making the tote bag. You can use it to glue up on the inside edge to make it a bit more stable. Can be a bit fiddly, so if you've seen other videos, a lot of demonstrators actually snip that off because it's almost too fiddly to deal with. Let's see if I can show. So you can, oh, sorry about the shaking. So you can kind of see how it sits down at the bottom there. Let's see if I can point with my scissors down, down there at the bottom. See? There we go. The bottom. So it's just tucked away at the bottom there. It just gives a little bit more stability, but it's not necessary. Okay. Now, because I'm going to stamp on this, and you're not going to see the inside part because that's going to be covered up. I could fold it over and stamp just on the square area if I want, or the rectangular area, and just stamp on there. But you're not actually going to see this part, so it doesn't really matter if I stamp on the whole thing. And it'd just be easier to do it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of stamping. Hopefully I'm not going to wobble too much. Now it doesn't really matter which direction you stamp, whether you want to go horizontal like this. We'll try it both ways and you can see the difference. I'm just gonna, so that's two stamps on the horizontal, and you can see where the crease goes on the sides. Or you could do vertical. So let's go vertical like that. And another, might turn this one around. Go vertical like that. Okay, so that one's two stamps vertical, and so if we fold it over, you can see it's not a lot of difference in the way they look. I think the coverage is better if I do it vertical, so I might just do the vertical coverage. Oh, stamping off the screen, sorry about that. I need to look up every once in a while to see what you are actually seeing. Okay, now if you're real picky, you could fill in those little gap areas if you want. But I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm just looking at the line as I stamp and just stamping just off to the edge of that score line because I know it doesn't matter, it's not going to be seen in there. There we go. So that's the stamping, pretty quick and easy. You could stamp some sort of sentiment or whatever if you want on on a different piece and pop it up, but if you don't, then you can have it any way around on your desk. So let's put the ink away so I don't make a mess with that. So now we just want to burnish everything. Now, the sides have 2 score lines because that's how you made the bag. You don't need to fold both of them. You only need to fold one of them in. Okay? So you only fold that one score line inward. All right? And give it a bit of a burnish. Now I'm gonna burnish the bottom, but I'm unfolding it because I don't want the bottom to be folded up at the moment. But I am gonna work with the sides. Now my first go worked pretty well. It was a bit fiddly getting the center in, so I'm gonna try something else. See if I can come up with a different way of doing it. Hopefully not too fiddly. All right. So just giving it a good burnish. Okay, so we got all our pieces there. Now, using tear and tape, which of course I've just misplaced. Oh, right in front of my eyes. Okay. So the best thing to start with is with a little bit of tear and tape along the edge. So see, there's the front that we stamped on, and that's the inside edge. And we're just going to put tear and tape along that edge. Now, don't worry about the bottom for now. So we got tear and tape along that edge, and then do it on the opposite edge. And do that on 2 pieces, not all 4, just 2 of them. And it'll make sense in a minute. So there, this has tear and tape on those 2 edges. And then we'll do it on a second piece. Just on the edge. And then on the other edge. Now, I'm suggesting tear and tape because it's quite thin. And that way you only get a little bit glued in place to start with, and then the fiddly part begins. So we've got 2 pieces that look like this that have tear and tape, and we have 2 pieces that don't have tear and tape, okay? So there's our 2 with tear and tape, and 2 without tear and tape, okay? So, taking a piece that has tear and tape, peel off your tear and tape, off one side only. Taking one that has no tear and tape on it, we put the 2 fronts together, line up, so we've got tear and tape on the one side and not on the other, and we're lining those up. Come on, focus. Focus, there we go, focus. Okay, so we've lined them up. We got our tape there and no tape here, and we've lined them up. We got front to front, so the fronts are facing. So you can see there's nothing on those sides. And once we got those lined up, we're just going to simply fold them over together. So what that's doing is it's taping it just on that seam, basically. Okay? So that's 2 done. So now this side here has tear and tape. So now we need one that doesn't have tear and tape. So this one doesn't have tear and tape. So again, match up the fronts together. Pull your tear and tape off, your paper off your tear and tape. Actually, I should do that first. There we go. Now we're lining up those 2 pieces. Focus. There we go. Got them lined up. And once they're lined up, you can just simply push the 2 pieces together. Okay. And so now we have another seam. So now our last one, we've got tear and tape and no tear and tape. So we're going to peel off our tear and tape here. or peel off the paper. Line it up against the one that does not have tear and tape. So again, we got fronts facing each other. Line that up. Sorry about the bouncing. And once those are lined up, you just simply slot them together. Okay. And then we have our final two, which if we did it correctly, we've got one with tear and tape, one without, which is right. Yay. Now, notice I'm not gluing the whole insides together because I want to be able to stick something in there. So see, these inside parts are not glued shut. Those are open. It's only glued on that edge. So now your final two pieces, because you need to make the box, you need to bring them together like that. And again, once you have them, this is probably the fiddliest. You just need to line them up best you can, edge to edge, and squish it down. Okay? So that basically gives you your box. Now, we're going to leave the bottom open at the moment. This is something different than what I did before. So if you want, you can go around and you can burnish that tear and tape in place. It's up to you. So now we need to put our center in there because, see, it doesn't connect up and it's just loose pieces. That's where these rectangles come in place. So those are the rectangles. I could have given you measurements to cut them, but it was easy enough just to cut from the die. Now, having the two pieces together, you want to snip up the center about halfway. Now, if you're, very pedantic about it and want to know exactly how far to go, it turns out this is about 6.5 centimeters. So you'd want 3-point-something centimeters to cut in the middle. Which I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to say that's about halfway. And holding the two together, you want to cut up approximately halfway, straight up as you can. So now I have two pieces with a slit in them. And if I turn the pieces around, I can then slot them together through that slit. There we go. I didn't cut the slit long enough. If you don't cut it long enough, they don't slide far enough down. So, just a little bit longer. Okay. Turn them around, slide them together. Okay. If it's too long, that's okay, because you're going to end up, you can't go any further than the floor. So basically, with the two pieces put together, we now have a center part. Not the best center I've done, but okay, we've got a center part. That is now going to slot in here. So here's where it gets a little bit fiddly. You want to just open up your slot slightly. You can just use your finger to slide in there if you want. You could even use your bone folder to slide in and give it a bit of an opening up. Okay. All right. So that's, again, why we only glued that one end part. And so you're just going to slide it in. I'll try to show you up here. So if you slide one side in and then the other corner, hard to hold it midair, and then you can slip in the third one, then come around, and you just need to sort of bend it into shape to slip in there. Okay, so that's the fiddliest part. So after you mess around with that for a bit, slip it in, slide it down. There we go. You should be able to slide it down. Okay? So that's slid down. And you want to make sure it goes all the way to the bottom, so that middle part doesn't appear to be. Okay. Slide it as far down as you can. So there's the bottom. All right. And that slid down. So see, these pieces don't go all the way to the edge. They're a bit short, which is fine because we've glued that edge so they wouldn't go all the way anyway. So see how it's slightly short. And because of the angle of that die, it doesn't go all the way straight to the bottom anyway. So once you have it arranged the way you like, that's where you can then put a little bit of glue. Hopefully my glue is behaving. So now you just want to put a little bit of glue on those two corners to hold it in place. So let's see if my glue is going to behave. Yep, I got a little glue in there. So I've just put a little glue. I don't know if you can quite see. There's just a little glue in there. You don't want it to be too much because you don't want it to come all the way down. And once you're happy with that, as long as it's gone as far down as you want it to go, you can just hold it in place. Or if you got the Embossing Essentials set, has lovely little tweezers that you can use to hold it in place. And then you can go around and glue all of them like that. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue down there. Just holding and squishing. Kind of hard to see. Not sure if you can quite see that. And when I push it shut, I kind of push down because I don't want the glue coming up the top. And then I can just go and hold it in place with my tweezers. Okay. Now this isn't, it does look a bit fiddly, but it's not as fiddly as when I first tried to do it. Okay, so a bit of glue down there. So unfortunately, trying to do tear and tape here is not the best idea. I did try that on my first option, but didn't really get it to work. And because of the way the center is, it can wobble about a bit, which is okay because you find that your Tombow glue doesn't fit exactly perfectly into that rectangle. I mean, into that little triangle space. So having a bit of leeway for it to move is good. Okay, so, and a bit of glue down there. And don't worry about the bottom being glued shut because unless you're going to be messing with it a lot, you're not really going to notice. It's not going to pull apart or anything. There we go. Okay, so that should be enough. So now, there we go. Put my tools away. The last part is doing the bottom. So now that that's done, we've got our open bottom there, and I said we had these two 5.5 centimeters. So if you pop one down there on the inside, one, it makes it look neater when you look down, but also it gives you somewhere to stick down your edges. Now you could use glue or tear and tape for those edges. It's up to you. They're wide enough, but I'm just going to pop some glue on them, just on the parts that are going to stick down, and then just fold them over. And the easiest thing to do is turn it back onto itself and use the round end of your bone folder just to give it a good push down. And do that on all four sides, just to get those edges to hold it down. So who would have thought a tote die could make a stationery box. And then the last piece is simply to cover that up. So this last piece here, I'll just put the glue. I need to open a new thing of glue. All over. To hold it in place. And there we go. And again, turn it over using your bone folder just to give it a bit of a burnishing. Make sure all the glue is taken up. And that is your 3D project. So there you got a cute little box, and those areas there perfectly fit your Tombow, your snips, your tweezers if you'd like, your bone folder. Put a few more things in there. We can have lots of Tombows if you want. And the nice thing, if you put your Tombow in that direction, is then the glue will go down to the tip. So this could be just used for your glue holder. Have lots of glue held in there and just put your snips in your bone folder. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too fiddly for you. Please give me a thumbs up. And so that's what it looks like at the side, and it's nice and firm, not wobbly at all. And if you don't like that design, then do the same thing without stamping, and then just measure up this, which I think is about 5.5 centimeters. This is about a 5.5 centimeter square, so then cut your designer series paper to be smaller than that. So I suggest maybe 5 centimeter square to decorate along the side. So those are your choices for this month's Global Monthly Video Hop. So lots of different things you can make with the totes die from the Notes and Totes bundle. So if you have this lovely bundle, lots that you can do with it besides stamping. Lots of different things to use with the dies. So we use those 2 dies there. And you could have used other dies to do some more decorations on it. So thanks so much for watching, and please click on the links below to go check out other demonstrators videos to find out some other 3D projects that they've got in store for you this month. Thanks so much. Bye.